The number one indicator of a motivated seller is the physical condition of that property.
If you're paying for marketing and you can't answer the phone, you're kind of wasting money.
Usually month like 3 to 4 is when you really start to see a bigger influx of people that are returning from those mailers versus the first month. The one big pitfall that we see is people who don't commit to a marketing channel and stick with it. And we've done deals that we weren't the highest offer, but it was that human connection that won out.
Is there one channel in 2025 that you feel works better than others?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Hybrid Real Estate Professional Podcast, the show where we help you build a life of abundance through real estate and small business investing without compromising what matters most to you. Today's guest is Matt Kamp, Head of Partnerships at DealMachine, the #1 rated mobile app helping investors find off-market real estate deals. Matt has helped grow DealMachine into one of the most widely used tools in the real estate industry with over 10,000 investor deals sourced through the platform. He is also an active real estate investor himself, based in St. Louis. He's a 2-time Inc. 500 startup leader, and maybe most impressively, a father of 3 kids under the age of 7. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time, so without further ado, let's get into it. Matt, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Aaron, appreciate the invite for the show. Great intro there. I know you've got 3 kids yourself as well, so we can relate on that. But yeah, excited to be here.
It's funny, Matt. I've been in probably 40 Zoom calls with you. We've been interacting we're in a community together. But one of the things I love about running a podcast is it's easier to get people one-on-one so we can actually have a substantive conversation despite being in each other's orbit for a couple of years now. This is the first time we're really sitting down, and I'm excited to get to know you better.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you're a fantastic leader within the RPM community. I've gotten to know you through Coach Carson and everything. So definitely a fan over here as well, and appreciate taking some one-on-one time here.
Awesome. Before we jump into, the software and what DealMachine is, I would love to just peel things back on who you are and kind of how you got into real estate. It seems like you have some experience with startups, other startups as well. So give us the overview.
Yeah. So the startup side, something that I came into really was, I think college was kind of that pivotal time of really discovering that. I know I grew up myself here in St. Louis, always loved sports and figured, hey, you know what, I've always really enjoyed this. It'd be really cool to work for a team or get into kind of the sports marketing world and, try that and, great experience, learned a lot of what I didn't quite want to do, at least at that time in life. It's different being an employee for a team versus work, actually a fan of one. As I was going through that, I had these side projects with a few friends in college that were kind of like different tech startup ideas. And, mobile was brand new. It was a whole new world from a platform standpoint that way, and found my real passion being these different ideas that we were working on the side. And fast forward, the guys that I was working on that with college doing that as well are actually, one of them is the co-founder of DealMachine, a guy that I saw had been doing, grew up together with him. He was really excited all the projects we did, kind of growing up that way, and then was very excited to join DealMachine. Yeah, like you said, one of those earlier employees there, to help lead partnerships. Been here almost 5 years now. Really enjoyed our journey there. So it's, yes, love real estate, the idea and all of that, but the team that was working on DealMachine was a huge, bonus of what maybe really wanted to join in as well. That was kind of the startup side. In between that and college, I was at a marketing agency, helped grow that from a few people to about 100 or so. Had a really awesome journey there. So I've had a couple of really exciting startup experiences at this point. And then real estate, that's something as well that I know back in high school, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and kind of planted that seed in my head of, hey, you know what, someday, what doesn't necessarily have to be my full-time job, but someday I want to get into this real estate thing. It seems like, the best wealth generating tool out there. And so I've always had an interest. Over time, gotten more and more friends into it, and then took the full deep dive when I joined DealMachine, like I said, 2020.
Awesome. So which one came first? Did you start investing in real estate before DealMachine, or did joining DealMachine prompt you to get into investing?
Yeah, it was joining DealMachine is what prompted me to get into it. So it's something that it's funny, like this might be relatable for people listening to this, but I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was listening to Bigger Pockets. I was gathering all this knowledge, listening to things and say, hey, someday I should do this. Someday I should get into this. And, I just didn't have any real focus or initiative, or just couldn't find the time to really jump into that world. DealMachine, that was another exciting reason to join. Is not only was it a technology I fully believed in, a problem I saw they solved super effectively and fully believed in the team, but also it was an opportunity for me to do that deep dive into real estate as well. And so I joined DealMachine, became a DealMachine expert first, really owned that and wanted to nail the day job, the 9 to 5 there. And then they are extremely encouraging of the team practicing what we preach and using the product ourselves and helping us get out there and go do deals as well. And yeah, it started with that and then evolved into, hey, you know what? I need to be doing this myself too, not just be the expert in sharing the technology and listening to our customers and sharing what they're doing, but also talk about my own experiences. And so, yeah, it's been a fun deep dive there too.
Very cool. Yeah, you have what I like to call the entrepreneurial itch, which is people who are addicted to the idea, maybe not addicted, that's a strong word, but you like the idea of working with companies and growing and scaling and solving problems. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, by the other startups you were a part of and then joining DealMachine very early on, you've also been able to help these companies grow and scale, which is a skill in and of itself. Finding a product market fit is only part of the problem that businesses try and solve. That scaling, bringing on new technology and enhancements, growing the teams, those all come with their own types of challenges. So I think it's really cool that you had multiple other companies to apply that to before you got in your current role, which seems that you've also been able to grow not only with DealMachine as a company, but also as an individual investor alongside. Do you find, did you always feel like you had that entrepreneurial inclination?
Yeah, I think I really discovered that. I've always been, I would say, a self-starter driven in that way. Like really, even in high school again, when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and everything, I would do fun things like, I'd be the one organizing. For example, we had a pickup football league that I literally organized, brought together like 60, 70 people, made teams, organized the whole thing. All, just a self-starter in that way, even just in fun activities. I would always been drawn to that naturally myself. I find that skill set has really applied into the business world too, whether it be marketing or sales or partnerships or, like you said, that entrepreneurial itch. I think they're all interconnected and just something that I've been naturally drawn to. And I feel like I can really relate to our customer in there as well too, because a lot of our customers are, those entrepreneurs like that, where they want to self-start something or they, want to do this as a side gig or start their own business within real estate. It's something that I can relate to with a lot of people probably listening to this as well.
Yeah. And again, I have a unique lens because we're in a community together with Coach Carson and, we've been in even some of the smaller groups within there. And so I've seen some of how you approach your day-to-day as an investor. Like you're setting up KPIs for yourself. You're trying to get a certain number of offers out, trying to analyze a certain number of deals. It's very methodical. I'm sure it wasn't, dialed in quite that right from the get-go, but over time, it seems like you've been able to iterate and learn from your own product that you're helping educate people on and create your own systems that are guiding you. And as someone who, is considering products, I've been a customer of DealMachine in the past when I was a little more active on off-market. It's a lot easier to connect with someone and take their advice when you know that they're actually doing the thing that they're trying to teach about. So that, again, that's just another thing I've always admired about watching you work both in DealMachine and as an investor.
Thank you. Yeah. I, like you said, hey, we had to take a measured approach and something that's the thing I've loved about RPM is it holds you accountable for setting goals and going out there. And, if you say you're going to go make this many calls or send this much mail or talk to this many sellers, make this many go on this many appointments, make this many offers, you're measuring that entire sales funnel. And what gets measured gets done, right? So, I've really tried to become intentional about that. And that's something I've learned over time. And also I'm really lucky with my seat here at DealMachine is I get to talk to a ton of customers who are successful with it and doing a ton of deals and being able to learn from them and say, hey, you know what, here's who I should model myself after. And RPM's been an awesome community to help continue to encourage that as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And as someone who, I think I had 18 months with DealMachine, there's incredible wealth of resources. There's community. You guys have both Facebook groups and ongoing education. I feel like in addition to the software, there's also a whole ecosystem in there to support investors, especially everything from brand new all the way to people who are doing dozens of deals per month. Were you involved in creating a lot of that education, or how did that kind of evolve over time as the company grew?
Yeah. So that's one thing we really realize is, hey, we can be a tool to make you more successful, but in the end, we want to enable your overall real estate and business success way beyond just using DealMachine. And in the end too, if you don't have success within, real estate or whatever your initiative is, hey, you probably won't be sticking around with us either. We want to be a tool to help make you more successful. And, it's a win-win partnership there, right? We've really gone to reinvesting in the company and our support and our education, and gone to big lengths to help our community feel supported in that way, whether it be connecting them and helping them do deals together, whether it be ongoing education and learning from outside experts and just upping their game in real estate in a variety of different ways. One big thing that's been probably my biggest passion towards that has been our live weekly Wednesday calls. So we have a live masterclass that we host every single Wednesday that I help organize, recruit the guests, the topic, kind of lead the whole conversation. I really enjoy those. It's something that is cool to see how many wins our community has and how they talk about, using DealMachine as a tool, but in the end, it's like how they are growing their business and changing their lives. It's really cool to see the impact, and it's very fulfilling to see how it's helped them in that way. Like you mentioned at the beginning, we've had over 10,000 closing in on 15,000 deals done using DealMachine at this point. It's really cool to be able to kind of take that and see that happening in real time every single week. So the masterclass has probably been my big passion, but I work closely with the marketing team, and they put out a ton of content on social media and our email, just all the above. It's, hey, we want to help be a support for you. We're a DIY tool. We're not doing it for you, but we can give you all the tools and knowledge and technology you need to go be successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that ecosystem is very important, especially because the kind of nature of what you guys do, it's not rocket science, but at the same time, it is easy to make mistakes or not be able to make the most of leads. And so you guys educate on how to get the best use out of your platform in addition to providing the tech solution. But I'm realizing as we're having this conversation, we haven't even really described what is DealMachine, what is your value proposition, and who's your kind of ideal audience.
Yeah, so I'd say high level, DealMachine is a real estate data and lead gen platform to help you find off market deals. Really, our core customer, especially within the real estate niche, has been that investor. We have a good number of agents that'll use it too, more hybrid, investor agent, but somebody who's looking to go direct to seller, to go off market, and to be able to find somebody who has a problem in their market, somebody who's looking to get rid of a problem property and help you be the one to engineer a solution for them. So we want you to basically use DealMachine to dig into our data to identify, okay, where are those opportunities in my market? The mobile app is fantastic for driving for dollars, if you're familiar with that strategy as well. That was really the first thing we were known for. And we evolved over time where we have that for mobile. We have a desktop kind of web version that you can dig into our data and build lists based on our data, lists of properties that have highly likely motivated sellers. And then we give you tools to actually get in touch with those individuals, whether it be dialer, mail, email, all kinds of stuff there. And it's something that we want to do for as low cost as possible as well. I know last year, or about a year and a half ago now, we launched our unlimited free skip tracing feature. So it's our basically including contact information with every single property inside DealMachine. So if you save a list of 1,000 properties, that used to cost about $100 to go skip trace all of those. Now that's just included free in your subscription. And things like that, we're always looking for, how do we innovate? How do we help save our customer budget, increase their, return on their investment, and then also just continue to push the envelope when it comes to innovation to make them more and more successful and take less time really inside the tech itself and more time doing what really matters, which is connecting with sellers and going out and doing deals.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think, like you said, you guys were initially known because that driving for dollars feature is incredible. You're driving around, you're on your phone, you pull up the app, you're in front of a house that you see that might be a good candidate to reach out to. You can literally, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can not only save that to your profile, but you can initiate a mailer from there directly while you're still in the car. Obviously, drive safely. But that feature in and of itself is pretty fantastic, because I think what happens when people are getting into this is that there's all these different tools. They have to go get their skip trace in one place. They have to go get it completely different lists from different sources. It's a bunch of expensive subscriptions that all start adding up very quickly. And a lot of people are positioned this idea that wholesaling is a great entry point. But next thing you know, they've spent $3,000 on marketing and they don't have any qualified leads because they weren't really set up for success and taught how to manage all these different tools together. So I think the fact that you guys have this all-in-one solution and all the education that we talked about before, a beginner could walk in and use nothing but DealMachine and still be able to find deals. I can't think off the top of my head of other platforms that have that all-in-one capability. And so I think it's cool how over time you guys have continued to refine and provide that opportunity. The unlimited skip tracing thing, The biggest question I'm sure everyone has had ever since that launched is, how do you verify the quality of data compared to other paid services? Where is it sourced from? So maybe I'll give you a quick chance to address that.
Yeah, and one, appreciate the shout out and being able to share all the kind of words there. We work really hard at that, so it means a lot. I'll have to let the team know you said that as well too. But it's something like, I'd say one, you're definitely right about that kind of all-in-one approach. We started off as driving for dollars because that was like the number one problem that we set out to solve. That the two co-founders I was mentioning earlier, one of them, David Lecco, he's our CEO as well. He was going out there, a newbie in real estate, and had a tech background, but would go out and kept hearing driving for dollars. Go out there, drive for dollars. It's the top way to get a deal as a newbie. Go look for properties that are physically distressed. Build a list of those and reach out to those owners. And so the first version, like you said, it's, hey, he was doing that process. He found great leads because he would drive past the house, write it down, 6 months later, drive past again, and it was getting worked on. And it was, he missed out on the deal, but he's finding the right leads. So he said, hey, you know what? Let me make a technology that can help me in this process to get way better, more efficient, effective at it. So he went out, made version 1 of just a driving for dollars app to go make it really easy to add leads, and then one click away, send mail, and put it on repeat. So you are getting in front of them, staying top of mind, and then you're that go-to option when they're ready to sell. We made that version. That was their main focus for the first handful of years of DealMachine. And then over time realized, hey man, there is so much more opportunity. Like driving for dollars is the first problem. Yes, it's a great place to start, but like you said, people want that all-in-one where you can come and look at, the real estate data, and they can come in and build lists that way in addition to driving for dollars. And then, oh, you know what? Hey, once they have that list, how do they reach out to those folks? And they have to pay for skip tracing. Well, the skip tracing piece, we really made a bet on ourselves saying, hey, if we over deliver and we go in and really focus on investing in this part, will that come back? Can we over deliver to the point that it's worth it from a word of mouth standpoint, that people are sharing us out? And from a marketing standpoint, we get more people coming to us because we are just giving that much value. And we knew that it had to be quality skip tracing to pull that off. We couldn't just offer free skip tracing and then it'd be terrible and would defeat the whole purpose, right? Like of being able to share it out and really spread via word of mouth and get people excited about it. And so I know from our standpoint, like our data sources can't, we don't share the specifics, but I can say it's coming from, we share this on our launch, is coming from the same data sources that a lot of top banks are trusting on, that, the 911 call center directory is also relying on. So it's, hey, we have really high quality sourcing for that. And it showed in really the proof of the results from it. So a couple stats I can share. I know now we have 95% contact match rate for single family homes nationwide. That's industry best. We also have, I know last quarter, we just did kind of like a deep dive on this. Last quarter, people using our dialer, which is our skip tracing, right? Our highest volume callers had like 25 to 29% pickup rate, which is over double the industry average, like crazy high. So we've been really happy about all the metrics we've gotten, all the testimonials around that. And like you said, we knew we had to nail the quality if that was going to actually be pulled off in the way that we're making that bet. So that's how we've evolved over time in terms of becoming that all-in-one, and then including that skip tracing feature there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a big bet for you guys to make, right? Because inherently when something is included that used to be costing a lot of money, people are going to be skeptical. And so the onus is on you guys to prove that there's quality data. And it sounds like since the launch, I remember that launch event, I was at it. And but since then, it's been a while and you guys have enough data to share some of those stats that you just shared. And it seems, you've been able to accomplish what you hoped for with that. And again, one less subscription, everything adds up. So by not having to go pay $100 here, $200 there for skip traces over the course of a year, that adds up a lot. And especially when you're new and maybe you still, those close rates, those pickup rates, like how you actually are able to convert these leads into deals, that's a skill that has to be built over time. And so the more money you're putting up front at the beginning, the harder it is to weather the storm. And what I've always heard, because I never really got a full off-market DealMachine going myself, but from what I've heard, the first 3 to 6 months can be pretty tough. Like you're putting a lot of money out. You might be starting to get leads, but mailers can take 3 or 4 touches to start getting responses. And so it's probably really easy for somebody to give up in that, valley of despair. But that's where having the tooling and the community support where people can come and probably ask questions to you guys. Hey, nobody's picking up, or I'm not able to, get these people to an appointment or a showing. and you guys can help live coach and provide that feedback on how to get better use. That's where it all comes together, because the tooling by itself, you guys can build the best tool in the world, but if people don't know how to use it and they don't build the skills to actually convert it, then ultimately that probably doesn't work well for either party.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we actually, for that exact reason as well, we have other things that talking about, hey, how do we reinvest in support and our community and everything? We actually have office hours live 4 days a week as well. I don't know if you've ever been on those, but Ryan, our head of customer success, runs those for Tuesday through Friday every week. And those are phenomenal as well. We get a great group going in, and we have a support chat in the app too, and plenty of resources on YouTube and our site and all of that. But being able to talk to somebody live like this directly to our head of customer success and dig in and screen share and show whatever challenge you're facing, that's been immensely valuable for people too. It's cool you brought up like, hey, yeah, all those things add up in terms of the cost, especially for a newbie. One other cool stat I can share. Last year was our first full year of providing that unlimited free skip tracing. Last year, based on the volume of people that are adding leads and who would have paid for skip tracing, right? We saved our customers about $19 million in skip tracing, which was amazing.
Just a couple bucks. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that was really cool to bring that to market and help give that back to our customers. We have that going. And then you are right though, of, hey, especially if you're newer, you're like getting the reps in, you're getting used to this, you're setting up your systems. Like mail, for example, we see a spike. And this is my own personal experience as well. Usually month like 3 to 4 is when you really start to see a bigger influx of people that are returning from those mailers versus the first month. And so you're right, there is a little bit of that kind of pit of despair that you can do things like calling or door knocking or email. There's a lot of other things you can be doing in that time, but direct mail, for example, that's one longer term return on your investment. So something that can compound and get better and better over time, but definitely I want to be able to enable you guys for success, both in the short term and long term. And I wanted to share that as well.
Absolutely. Since you have so much data, you guys run a company where the entire focus is helping people find deals, primarily off market. Is there one channel in 2025 as we sit here now that you feel works better than others?
A marketing channel, you mean?
Yes.
So it's funny, from a pure data standpoint, there's a couple ways you can approach it. I would say I always try to educate people. Like, you can think about it as, hey, do I have a little bit more time on my hands? Can I be more of the hustler mindset and go out and find leads one at a time, but find the highest quality leads in my market? Or do I have a little less time and I need to be a little more passive, but maybe can commit a little more budget to my marketing? And so think about that first and which bucket you fall into. Ideally, you're doing a little bit of both of these activities, but the hustler would be the driving for dollars persona, right? Somebody who would go out there, and regardless, we can give you all the data in the world. The number one indicator of a motivated seller is the physical condition of that property. And, so if you're able to go out there and actually identify those in an effective way, we have things like virtual driving for dollars now, AI assisted driving for dollars, things like that. But being in your market and learning and being out in the field and doing that and adding properties one at a time, like that is going to be your best, least number of leads to a deal. How about that? That would be the kind of the hustler method. The list building side, there's a ton. I mean, we have 700 plus data points you can work with now, and we're always sourcing and adding more. So you've got a ton of options you can do as well, where you just jump in DealMachine, go on the map, put in a city, county, or zip code, and then start to filter based on all those data points. You can absolutely go that way, but I would say, when you do that, be able to think about and plan out your budget and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to send, out 100 mailers a month to this list, and I'm going to do this or that, and kind of plan ahead. That's really the approach that I take, because it's a little more passive, and I've got my day job there too. You've got that going as well. From a marketing outreach standpoint, it's funny. Every marketing channel can work. You can't have success with cold calling. You can't have success with door knocking. You can have success with email, with direct mail. You can have success with digital. You hear, there's always going to be kind of that hot new thing, and it goes in cycles as well. Digital is one I hear often now too. So there's always like, a marketing channel that you can kind of shift around and change your focus on. The one big pitfall that we see is people who don't commit to a marketing channel and stick with it. It's really easy to get that shiny object syndrome and say, oh man, I heard about this today and I want to try that now. Or a week later, I heard about this and I want to try that now. And the thing with marketing too is, you hear all those stats on, it takes, 5 to 7 touch points or however many touch points to really get a statistically higher chance of having a conversation with that person. It is true. Like, it's something where you need to be consistent with people, reach out multiple times, stay top of mind. We try to teach a playbook of short-term and long-term marketing to do that of, hey, have that short-term hustle marketing that's one-to-one, and then combine that with long-term passive, once a month mailers or email or what have you. That combination works extremely well, and happy to talk more about that. But I think overall, we want to guide you toward, hey, finding that marketing strategy, sticking with it rather than chasing that shiny object.
Yeah, no, this actually parlays very well into the next topic I was going to cover, which is you can wear your deal machine hat or your investor hat when you answer this question. But
Sure.
some of what I've struggled with so we own rental properties, right? That was how we started our portfolio, but we bought them rather traditionally. Most of them were either on the MLS or from an agent that we had worked with before that brought us a pocket listing. So we were very lucky in that regard, but there was no real, advanced or high volume outreach or marketing that we did. It was largely just accessing things that were already available on the public market. And when I shifted and I dove into DealMachine and I started gaming out what it would look like to set up a marketing machine, it was a little overwhelming in the context of my life. You and I mentioned at the top of this episode, we both have 3 kids. We both have W-2 jobs. In your case, yours is real estate adjacent. So I'm assuming it's not frowned upon for you to be focusing on finding deals as part of your job. But for I think a lot of the people listening to this show, it's difficult to understand how you could fit something like this into your life if you have a job and a family, especially because, just my opinion here, maybe tell me if you agree, if you're paying for marketing and you can't answer the phone and you can't actually communicate with those leads, you're wasting money, or at a minimum, you're going to dilute the effectiveness of all that marketing. And this stuff only really works if you can build the machine with consistent leads and then actually, convert those leads. So I'm just curious in the context of somebody who's listening, who has a job, maybe they have kids and they have other stuff going on in their life. Can something like this actually effectively fit into their life, or is it going to be a lot more consuming than, a more traditional approach?
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of sharing your own personal experience as well there. And you are right. Hey, going off market, what I'll say is that's where you're going to find the best deals, consistently. And that's where you can really build a ton of momentum and build that longer term business in a lot of ways. But I definitely don't want to say that's the only thing you should be doing. Like agent referrals, that's amazing. Definitely make yourself known locally as somebody who's looking for deals among your friends and family and real estate agents. And hey, you can be a resource for people. And for agents, if they can't list it or if it's a property that's just not in shape to do that, hey, great, you can be somebody who can fix up the property, right? And you can be an awesome solution for their problems as well. I'd say like referrals are phenomenal. Like definitely don't ignore that. To combine them, we've done deals that way too. Like I've done deals through referrals, we've done deals through DealMachine. So definitely want to say, hey, have a mix of marketing here. When it comes to using DealMachine, I think it does tie back to that time versus money aspect. If you're looking for just purely the cheapest, the least cost per deal possible, it would be that driving for dollars, getting, out in the field, maybe door knocking, cold calling you can do because you have the skip tracing and dialer and DealMachine. You can do that really cheaply, but that is more of the grinded out mindset that way. And so not everyone can pull that off from a time perspective. The other option you have there is you can set up really passive system where, yeah, you can always be out in your market and adding leads through driving for dollars and just have your investor hat on at all times and look for deals as you're out in the field. Definitely recommend that. But you can also go in and pull a list and start marketing literally right now with one click of a button for direct mail. And direct mail has been our number one lead gen channel for me personally for that reason. We'll go in and we'll build a list, and I'm happy to dig into the variety of things we're doing there. But when we actually mail to them, we'll go out there, we'll send direct mail, we'll be consistent with it. So at least once a month, we really focus on being creative with our direct mail designs, really standing out and not take ourselves too seriously. But, we'll mix in like professional postcards with things that'll be, my business partner in that venture is super creative. So I'll let them just, hey, let's get out there. We have one postcard that literally has Bigfoot on the front and says, we are searching, and you flip it over for homes in your area, or to buy houses in your area. So it's things like that are just eye-catching and different and might get somebody to at least smile and maybe stand out a little bit there. So when it comes to direct mail, we'll send out postcards, be consistent with it that way. And you are right about the call in. You either need to be ready to answer that phone, or what we actually use, my business partner in this is he actually is my role over at Call Porter. I don't know if you are familiar with those guys. So we'll use Call Porter. I know David Lecco has used Call Porter before, our CEO. So we're a big fan of, basically it's an inbound receptionist for you. So if you send out postcards, they're ready to answer the phone and then set up an appointment for you, and they've got access to your calendar. And so, that's been super, super helpful in just, hey, use DealMachine to look through the data, to build that list, to actually send the mail, to design the mail in there, to manage all the mail. And then when the phone calls come in, have Call Porter pick up, answer that call, and set the appointment for you. And then, actually work the appointment yourself and work the lead from there. That's how we've approached it, kept it extremely passive. It's not no work, but it's compared to, door knocking all day, it's a good alternative, right? So, yeah.
No, that's fascinating. So basically, like you're saying, the kind of hand-to-hand, one-on-one, the door knocking, the cold calling, like that stuff probably produces a higher percentage result. But the more passive stuff, if you're willing to build that machine, like you said, maybe have an answering service or someone where you're not going to squander that lead. If the person finally calls from the 5th postcard you sent, they can set the appointments. Like you can make it more passive than it would be, spending 8 hours a day driving for dollars and knocking on doors. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, exactly. And so the passive route, like I mentioned, is going to take a little more startup capital to set up that system. But you can, the advantage of that is, hey, you can have your 9 to 5, your W-2, and then you can have that going on the side, right? And hopefully that can fund what you're setting up there. And then the other side is, hey, you know what? If you're hustling and you're looking to just go all in on taking action and going, need to stay as budget conscious as possible, then hey, you know what? Just go the hustle route until you can build up to include the passive stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I think a lot of the times there's a couple of things that happen. One is it gets sold, this idea of wholesaling, as an easy entry point that, okay, I'll just start doing that and I'll start getting $10,000 assignment fees. I don't think that's true. There's obviously a lot behind that. You need to be methodical. You need to have the right tools and the right skills and education. And the other thing is that people, maybe assume that they can make it fully passive and just let me write a check and everyone will do all the work for me. And even if that was true, it still involves you going and building the relationships, either hiring a service like Call Porter or hiring an employee, someone that works in-house for you that has those skills and has the time. And so I think, just my precaution always when I talk to people is they get convinced that it's easier than it actually is. But I don't know. So that's when I always get a little bit hesitant when I start talking about off market, especially with someone brand new. Do you think that, is there a better way to kind of position this to a new investor who's, let me just go start wholesaling and I'll, start making 10 grand a month and I'll turn it into flips and I'll turn it into rentals, and they kind of have this idyllic approach to it?
Yeah, I think, one, you are right about building the relationships. Like that has been, regardless across the board, the key for, especially my personal real estate investing. I've got mentors like Coach Carson. I've got local mentors. I've got a business partner there that we hold each other accountable. The guy over at Call Porter, Vince is his name. Awesome guy. You should have him on at some point too. But yeah, that whole network that I've built out, and with the DealMachine community and with folks like yourself, I'm definitely in a spot to be able to network with people very effectively. And I'm really lucky with that, where I can be, using DealMachine to continue to further my knowledge, have a tool to be successful, and have a great network there. But we do really try hard to be able to have everybody who's using DealMachine get invited to these live calls and have all of these resources at their hands to go and educate themselves and connect with others and find mentors and do deals together and things like that. So they're very much, that's a big part of it, the relationship side. But in general, yeah, we don't want it to seem, and you're right, like we really try to stay away from kind of the get rich quick, messaging out there, because we really want you guys to say, hey, we're giving you technology and access to data and marketing and these things that used to be crazy expensive or not even possible, that now technology can give you literally in your hand. It's just a matter of you running with that. And so we want to give you that playbook on how to do that. We want you to be successful with the tool and make it, again, as time efficient and cost efficient as possible, but still know that, hey, it's up to you to run with that and to really make it happen yourself too. So it's a combination of, hey, giving you that ability to go out and put in the work and give you that playbook on knowing what to do, but in the end, hold yourself accountable as well on that front. And I do love that about RPM, like I mentioned, is helps you hold yourself accountable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, I'd love to have your partner on the show too. That sounds like a heck of a partnership you guys have, because you're addressing two of the biggest pain points. One is finding the deals, and the second is servicing those leads, right? Yeah, no, this has been a really helpful, I think, big picture conversation and also understanding of the tooling. I have one more question on tactically. So I've seen a lot of people booting up, or at least trying to experiment with this AI agent type stuff, whether it's for texting or even I've heard some demos of call answering services where it's an AI having a conversation with a potential seller, not trying to close the deal or do anything advanced, but like basically functioning in that call porter style where when the phone rings, they pick up, hello, who is this? And they can gather information and then at least set up for a callback. Are you guys dabbling in that at all, or how do you feel about that overall?
Yeah. So I'll say one, I love like people embracing new technology. You're right. AI is the fastest growing technology ever created. And like ChatGPT got to 1 million users faster than anything else ever, from a tech standpoint ever out there. Absolutely. It's something that I would not say, hey, I want you to embrace it. I want you to be always using it as a super productivity tool. I'd be wary on completely replacing yourself with it in terms of different functions. I would approach it as that super productivity tool, but I still think a human touch is a massive advantage if you can hone that skill, and maybe even more so if technology is becoming a commodity, then hey, you know what? The human element is what's going to make you different, right? I think that, we have implemented AI in a variety of ways inside DealMachine. It's within our list builder to help you do things like have AI analyze the property data, even the visual of the property. It'll look at street view images and satellite images and tell you, hey, based on these images, if it is a distressed property. So it's essentially AI driving for dollars for you. So we're embracing it there. We're embracing it within our dialer, where it'll literally aid you in the conversation, not replace you, but aid you and tell you, hey, you know what, based on where you're at in the conversation, go this way or that way, or try this or try that. And it'll give you prompts as you're talking to the seller, which is pretty amazing. And then it'll even do things, on the kind of the other side of it in terms of running numbers, analyzing the deal, giving you, ways to reach out to the seller, like giving you thoughts there as well. So we've built AI in as a super productivity tool across the board. We definitely have explored it for calling, and we're always trying to assess like how effective is it at that. I'll say that whole area, there's a lot of gray area in using AI for, especially like outbound calling. That's something that we don't really want to touch there, because from a gray area standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, I know the AI as well for inbound call receiving. That's something that I know I've had conversations with Call Porter. They're always analyzing that and comparing a human versus AI there. And yeah, it can get the job done in some ways, but in other ways, not so much, at least not yet. And so it's something we're always assessing, always figuring out how can we really give you the super productivity tool. When is it ready to go to market in a cheap enough rate? Like the AI analysis of the visuals of the property, that's something we've had that idea forever, but now it's finally effective enough and cheap enough to be able to offer it in DealMachine. So we're always, assessing that and have a list of ideas on things we could be doing. But yeah, I'd say overall, it's like embrace it as a super productivity tool, not as a complete replacement.
I am very aligned with you on that. I think using AI as the front line to actually communicate verbally is maybe a step further than I'm ready to take right now. I wouldn't probably appreciate if I sensed that I was talking to a robot when somebody took the time to market to me and reach out, because the human connection is probably what really closes the most deals, is when you can really empathize and understand that person and figure out what problem are they trying to solve and how can you help solve it. I don't think a robot can quite figure that out yet. But I really like what you said, where it can work well as a coaching tool, whether it's live coaching on a call, or what I use a lot is I take transcripts from all the calls that I do, whether it's a sales call or a coaching call or whatever, and I go back and forth, usually with ChatGPT, and just say, hey, what could I have done better? What type of insights? I like that self-coaching element of AI. And then I love what you said too about the analyzing the visuals of a property too. I think that's a really unique use case. So yeah, some uses are better than others, but I tend to agree with you on the whole, at least the communication front.
Yeah, and we've done deals that we weren't the highest offer. We have plenty of customers that have done deals and they weren't the highest offer, but it was that human connection that won out for them. And the seller really chose them over anything else because they trusted them in that way. And in the end, like, we want to help you guys build trust more efficiently, effectively with more people, but also enable you for success, not completely remove you from the equation.
Matt, you might have convinced me to rejoin all this talk, all the features you guys got rolling out. I was always impressed with the product, really impressed with the team and the way you guys pour back into your community and empower investors with education. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. If people want to learn more about you as an investor or more about DealMachine and how they can get signed up, where can they find you?
Yeah, we have obviously DealMachine.com is a resource where you've got everything you can learn from how to find the deal, get in touch with the seller, analyze the deal. We have tools to help you with all of those things. We have a 7-day free trial there to include, and I can send over a little link for you too, Aaron, that would include some marketing bonuses for people as well that you wouldn't just get going through our website. It'll give you some free calling minutes. It'll give you free postcards to be able to send out. So want to make sure I can hook up your audience as well and just give you a little marketing boost to get out there and start getting in touch with motivated sellers in your market. And then you have me as a resource as well. Our office hours are dealmachine.com/office-hours. Jump on those. Aaron, feel free to include, I'll even give contact info in the description here as well. So you can have people have me as a resource. So we want to be here to enable your guys' success and, go out there, and love to see you on our Wednesday masterclasses as well.
Awesome. I'll make sure all that is included in the show notes, and hopefully we'll be having you back on again soon.
Yeah. Appreciate the invite, Aaron. This was great.
Awesome. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you for making it to the end of today's episode. As you may know, podcasts are very difficult to grow organically. If you're getting value from today's episode, I'd deeply appreciate if you can take 30 seconds to leave my show a 5-star rating and review. This will go a long way to helping me reach more listeners just like you. Thank you so much in advance.